Live. We're already on, ladies and gentlemen. We are live. I just caught you off guard.
Yes.
Mr. Joseph Michael Dickerson, ladies and gentlemen. Yay! The Roadmap to Rich. This is the book. We are talking about it here on Grow Yourself. And for those of you that are brand new to the programming, who have never checked this program out, Grow Yourself is, I should have started with this, and that's what I should have started. We should have started with that, but we're gonna go back to our camera. Okay, but what this program is about, ladies and gentlemen, is a entrepreneurial based show that is also dedicated to the self-development of each and every individual watching this program. And I was fortunate enough to come across the Roadmap to Rich, which is a beautifully written book about your perspective, JMD's perspective, on how to really attain wealth and stay wealthy. And so, first of all, welcome to the program, man. How are you feeling?
I'm getting over a little bit of a cold, but other than that, I'm doing all right.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you made the time because I know you're busy. You're not only an author, but you're an attorney here locally.
Correct.
So, how did you find the time to write a book?
Well, this book started off as an article. I was teaching adjunct at TAMU, and a couple of Professor Mayfield, some of you may know them, said, hey, you should write an article and then you can start looking at getting your PhD. And I said, oh, okay, well, let me figure something out. So I started working out an outline on entrepreneurship, which is one of the things I'm very fascinated with. And so I started an outline and it turned into more than an article. And so once I had that outline, I was appointed to Child Protective Services cases. And unfortunately, there's a lot of waiting time when you're set for those hearings. So you could be sitting in court for 2-3 hours before your case is called. So during that time, I had my Palm Pilot out, and I was, picking away, writing this book. And so it took me about 3 years to really get it from outline to print.
So let me get this straight. You started writing this book, The Roadmap to Rich, on a Palm Pilot.
Yes, that'll tell you how long ago that was.
Well, yeah, a Palm Pilot. I mean, that's old school, man.
Yeah.
No, but the fact that you started writing it on a mobile device is incredible. So you started writing it on a Palm Pilot. And I guess writing a book obviously is not something you do from one day to the next, and it took you three years to write it. What was going on in those 3 years that really kind of gave you, or where did you find the inspiration for this? Right. Was it through the cases that you were taking, or
it was a variety of things. Some of it was, the Robert Kiyosaki's books. Other real estate investment books, and actually putting some of those things to practice and seeing what some of my wealthy clients had done, how they got wealthy. They had these very, humdrum businesses that you would never think, that guy's a multimillionaire. He just dressed like, in jeans and is dressed comfortably every day compared to us who are in our ties. And, very unassuming, but they're very wealthy.
Right.
Because they have a business that they've been able to grow and develop into something that runs almost on its own and is just a money machine for them. They take that money and then invest it into real estate.
Right.
So they pull the money out of their risky business operations and put it into a less risky investment, which is real estate. And so they just keep multiplying that.
Of course. And I've often heard, and while he might not be a favorite in the public eye, but our president is one of the people that have done that, has attained wealth through real estate. And that's something that you talk about in the book. In the book, there are essentially 4 ways
Right.
to the roadmap to riches,
Right.
which is a lottery.
Right.
And we'll touch on them.
And the lottery, it comes in quick and it goes out quicker. Because
all of a sudden you got 30 primos. Yeah.
Exactly.
Starting your own business, which we'll talk a little bit about, which is entrepreneurship,
Right.
something that's near and dear to my heart. Investing in real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one, which is really, really interesting, is the natural ability aspect to each individual. If you have a natural ability, such as the Tiger Woods of the world, Michael Jordan's, LeBron James, these athletes that take their ability and become super mega rich, is the 4th way,
Right.
which is really, really interesting. Let's bounce back. Let's rewind a little bit. Obviously, the lottery, the chances of us winning the lottery are slim to none. But let's move on to entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship, and off camera, we were kind of talking about what that dive is like, what it's been like for me in going and leaving my regular job and just putting in my 2 weeks, and just in 2 weeks later, I'm an entrepreneur. I don't have a regular check coming in. I don't have an alarm clock or a time clock where I gotta punch in. I don't have anybody calling me telling me I've got to go to work. I've literally got nothing.
Yeah.
But an idea and a vision of a business. That's all I've got. All I've got is a vision. No guarantee that I'm gonna get customers or make money. That road is freaking scary.
Yes.
For a lot of people. And you talk about that in the book a little bit, is that entrepreneurship is not for everybody.
Yeah, it can be a brutal sport. Restaurants are one of the big examples. Is restaurant opens up, and if you get a bad review, a lot of times mom and pop restaurants don't last a year, and so you've got to really be in it to win it. You've got to make sure you've got some kind of plan. You've got to have the financial resources. A lot of times you get people who have an idea of something that they're good at. They may be a professional, they may be doing different things, but they really don't know how the business side works. So you could have, and attorneys and other professionals are notorious for that, is, well, I'm a really good trial attorney, I can start my own practice. Then, well, how do you hire employees? How often are you supposed to pay them?
Right.
How do you keep your checkbook? How do you make sure that your employee that's running the checkbook isn't stealing from you?
Yeah.
So you've got to really, take the professional side of it, the actual technical work that you do. You've got to pull yourself out of that, and now you've got to be an entrepreneur, a business person. That doesn't matter what the business does, there's certain aspects that everybody has to deal with, and if you can't manage those, you're going to be in trouble.
Right. You mentioned even that calculating cell phone minutes and cell phone plans, and you talk about employees, and maybe it's something that financially you may not be able to do, but it's a dive that you need to make if you want to grow.
Right.
Essentially, what's riskier, the entrepreneur road to riches or the real estate road to riches?
Well, I think the entrepreneurship is a bigger risk, because in order to really be a serious entrepreneur and really be doing it, you've got to be giving 100% of your time to your business. It's like a spouse. If you don't give them 100% of your time, you're gonna have problems.
Right.
So it's important to focus that. In real estate, it's a little bit different. It is a part-time job. It can be a full-time job, and you can increase your wealth that way, accelerate it. But it's safer in that you're using money that you get from your job or your business, and then you invest that into income producing property, or a property that you're going to flip, or a property you're going to hold for long-term development.
One of the masters, I think, one of my mentors, unbeknownst to him, but his lessons have really taught me a lot about entrepreneurship. But one of his main acquisitions of wealth comes from multifamily, which is Grant Cardone. I am a student of the Cardone University, and a lot of the lessons that he talks about or a lot of the things that guide Grant Cardone is real estate, multifamily units.
Right.
But that investment, that's I think the biggest challenge, because everybody who reads this book, everybody that's watching, don't lie, you want to be rich. Don't lie. Do you ever come across somebody that says, "Oh, money, I don't need money. Oh, I don't want to be rich"?
There's a few people that I know, but they've taken a vow of poverty, and they're priests and nuns and stuff like that. But outside of those people,
that's the exception.
No. Aside from people who've taken a vow to God, no, I don't know anybody who doesn't want to be rich.
Yeah. What do you say to somebody that thinks money isn't important? I think we shouldn't, I'm a firm believer that you shouldn't worship money, and money shouldn't be, but it's important. It is important to our survival.
Right.
What do you say to somebody that?
I think one of the things that you're probably reaching for is there is a quote in the Bible that is often misquoted. It's money is the root of all evil.
Right.
That's not the proper quote. The proper quote is the love of money is the root to all evil. So money is a tool. It's like the Swiss Army knife I've got in my pocket. It's like the cell phones that we use. It's a tool. But when your cell phone becomes your everything, you've got a problem. But you can use it to get the things you want, to gain more time. When you have employees doing the busy work that your business needs to do, but it allows you to go and get bigger clients or have time off to spend with your family. Those are the things that ultimately everybody wants. Everybody wants happiness. Everyone wants freedom.
Right.
How can you do that? Well, if you don't have to worry about paying your bills, if you don't have to worry about food, if you don't have to worry about shelter. We're very lucky in this country that that's not such a big problem. It's still a problem, but compared to other countries, it's relatively minor.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people don't fully appreciate the country that we live in, because you will have somebody who barely speaks a lick of English, un vecino de Nuevo Laredo or de Mexico, right? A neighbor who crosses over with little to no money and will build an empire on this side. Would you say that it has a lot to do more with becoming rich on the roadmap, aside from it being a map to where to go? But what else do you need? Do you need motivation? How do you, when you wake up in the morning, do you have a routine? What is JMD's morning routine when I get up in the morning?
I get up in the morning, throw on some clothes, go get coffee, take the kids to school. That's other than I'll leave out a few other incidentals.
Yeah.
But it's there isn't any kind of mantra. There's not a magic bullet. Really, you just laid out exactly what it is. You've got to be hungry, and unfortunately, that's why wealth doesn't stay in families past 2 or 3 generations, because you've got the grandpa who came to this country or started with nothing, built up this business, then son maybe was part of that growth, or daughter part of that growth, and then grandchildren are, have gone to prep schools and have had a pampered life. So
Right.
they've never had the experience of, if I don't make this sale, if I don't get this product sold, if I don't get this money in, I'm not going to eat today. My family's not going to eat today.
Yeah.
When you don't have that, and it's obviously, that's an exaggeration. It's a different level at different places. But when you don't have that fear of if I don't do it, then very bad things will result. When you don't have that, I didn't make the sale, no big deal. I'll try again. And you don't put the same level of intensity and effort into getting the sale, into getting your business going when you're not hungry.
Is it then complacency that is the killer of all wealth?
I think complacency is a big impact there. Both in keeping the family involved in moving the business and continuing growing, but it can also be the actual business itself may run out of that industry. That industry may no longer exist. Like film, like Kodak.
Right.
I was a photographer in high school, and we developed film, black and white film, and but now everything's digital. I've got a little point and shoot camera that's been, the batteries has been dead for years because you don't even pull it out because you've got your phone. And the phone camera is even better.
Right.
So you've got to see the changes coming. And there's certain things that are taking place, and you've got to be on top of it. That's kind of why going now to real estate, it's a little bit more stable of an investment, because number one, I know where it is. It's right there. No Wall Street guy is going to move my property and take my real estate away from me, because they made a bad bet. It's there. If you want to get it to make more money, you can improve it. You can change what it does to increase the income you're getting from it. In real estate is easy to get into if you find the right deal. That's really the key. When you don't have money, but you want to get into real estate, you really don't need money to make money in real estate. But you need to be able to analyze deals. You need to be able to go and look at 100 deals and find the one that is really good. Then you need to make friends who have money. You need to make friends with bankers, and you need to bring the deal and be willing to give up the being the quarterback of the deal at a certain point, because you may find, hey, my best friend's sister's cousin, the same person who saw Ferris Bueller pass out at 31 Flavors. Right. Well, they've got a property that they're giving that they've got to get rid of because they have a problem, and they're giving it away at 30% below market value. You have the inside track. Well, if you get that contract and you bring that deal and you show, look, this property, if we just put some lipstick on it, we can rent it out for X dollars, and we'll be able to make a profit of this much every month, even after paying taxes, even if we have to do repairs. So you bring it to somebody. If you've got a good deal, people will line up. The problem is people don't want to spend the time. Right. And then people want to say, well, but I want to be 50-50 partners with you because I brought the deal and somebody else has all the money. Sometimes you've got to adjust your expectations, because this isn't it's not a one-shot deal. Right. The first deal, you may need to give up all of it. It may be, look, I'll give you $10,000 for the deal. Okay, get that $10,000 and go look for another deal. Right. Don't get personally involved. Don't get your heart in your business. It is the number one way to lose money. I've done it before, so I'm not just saying it from an outsider's point of view. I've gotten into investments that I did it because I felt like I was invincible, and you know what, I'm gonna do it because I like this property, I want it. and time passes, and just because you wanted to,
right,
that's not enough. You're sometimes when you're lucky on deals, you think that you're good,
right,
and you've got to reassess, because if it's really luck runs out.
right.
And so you need to make sure you're doing the math. Math doesn't lie. 4 plus 4
Right.
is 8. No matter how you slice it, no matter where you're at, whether you're in the US, you're in Russia, you're in China, 4 plus 4 is going to be 8.
Right. In the words of Jay-Z, women lie, men lie, numbers don't.
Yeah.
Would you say then that not getting emotionally involved in deals is one of the lessons that you learned? What are some of the other lessons that you've learned in terms of investing in real estate and investing in business? What shouldn't I do as the new entrepreneur, new guy on the block? Okay. How do I stay safe and stay rich?
Right. I'm going to give you some Dickersonisms, as my wife likes to call it. The first one is, if you don't ask, the answer is already no. So, hey, if you're trying to get a prospect to buy something, and they're just like, you say, no, I can't approach that person because they're the president of the bank, or they're the president of the university. They're whoever they are. They're you. Right. Somebody on Facebook Live that's a star. I can't approach you because you're never even going to talk to me. If you don't go up to somebody, if you don't talk to them, and you don't ask for the sale, you're not going to make it. Yeah. If you never ask for the sale, you didn't make it. So if you ask and they say no, guess what? You tried. And they might at some point in the future remember that you have this business, and they may then say, hey, you know what, now that time's passed, I think I need to get with the times, and they'll call you because you made that pitch,
right,
even though they weren't ready at that time. But if you don't ask, the answer's already no.
So ask for the sale.
Right.
Love that. He's already talking car language. This is I'm already yeah. Okay. So you got me on that one.
Right.
Ask for the sale.
Right.
What else?
Have integrity. Okay. So what I mean by that is, if you agree to something, then follow through with it. Sometimes I've had to adjust my billing because I said, look, we can do it for this amount. And then, well, you know what? It wasn't quite as simple as it looked, and we've had to put in more time to do research on this one. And so keep your word. Even if it hurts, even if you may have to eat some of the profit in this deal, because that integrity will follow you through. In business, it's not a one-shot deal. You're not going to make one sale. And if you want to make one sale to one client and that's it, then you're done. Your business is over. You did one sale, and
right.
it better be a multimillion-dollar profit,
yeah.
because then you can retire. But unfortunately, there's very few businesses that can give you that.
Yeah.
So you need to have that integrity and build trust and build relationships, because if you don't have those relationships, people aren't going to come back for more. They're not going to refer their clients. And unfortunately, just the nature of humanity is, for every happy client you have, only 1 in 10 is going to say something about it.
Right.
For every pissed off client you have, they're going to tell 10 people about it. So, the math is already working against you. So you've got to, if you're always do what you say and always follow that, what happens is people who have heard the bad talk are going to see, well, you know what, that doesn't make sense, because every time he says this, he does exactly what he says. So you have to have integrity. That's the number one. Follow through.
Follow through. Be a business or a man or woman of your word and ask for the sale. I know you've got some more, but I do want to touch on you're writing on another book.
Yes.
What's the name of that one?
That one is called the 3-bucket method. Okay.
So
I know
we got a 3-bucket method. We got an exclusive. So I gotta ask, what is the 3-bucket method?
Well, it's the 3-bucket method of asset protection. I stole the 3-bucket method idea from scouting, so all you scouters out there, know that where I got it from. But basically, it is a way of evaluating risks in a person's portfolio. Okay. Now, everything you own is part of your portfolio. So, you start off with your operating business. Okay, that is the highest level of risk, because in that business you've got employees, you've got equipment, you've got contracts, you've got all kinds of things that can go wrong that are not in your personal control. And so you may wind up in a situation where your employee went to go grab lunch for the staff and was in a car accident.
Right.
Okay. And then they get a TV attorney to represent them, and now your business is pulled into this.
I'm the Texas Hammer.
So now you've got a situation where your business is on the hook. Now, if you haven't set up an LLC or a corporation, you haven't set up a business entity to protect you from your business, guess what? That thing's going to follow you until they get everything.
Right.
Okay. Or you declare bankruptcy. You know, and nobody really wants to do that.
Right.
So when you separate that first bucket, you've got the moving parts. That's what I call the moving parts bucket. And here you can have different types of businesses, different layers of businesses, and different entities. So you want to separate those from each other. Okay. The second bucket is what I call the dirt bucket. Okay. And like the name says, it's real estate. Okay. And so in here, my recommendation and what I like to do is not have more than $500,000 in aggregate value. So if you have multiple casitas that you are renting out, you don't want to have more than $500,000 of value, or a single property in one LLC.
What happens if I go outside of the 500, and why only 500?
Okay, 500 is because that's all I'm willing to bet on black. That's all. I mean, I'm not willing to put, because the misunderstanding people have about how LLCs work and business entities work for asset protection is they protect you from, you as the owner, they protect you from what happens inside. So if in the real estate, let's say you have a little rental house that's worth $50,000 and you have $1 million ranch. Okay. And you put them both in the same LLC because you say, well, I don't want to spend more money on 2 LLCs.
Right.
Okay. Well, the little house burns down, somebody gets hurt, they sue you. You say, hey, well, I did an LLC, so I know I'm not going to be personally liable. Okay, but the LLC is liable. And what does the LLC own?
The ranch.
$1 million ranch.
Right.
So guess what? That ranch is going to go to that attorney, and they're going to
they're going to be gone.
Yeah. Right. So you're going to lose what's in there. So if you just had, let's say, 3 little houses there, and then you have your ranch in a separate LLC, if you have that same situation happen, your ranch is protected because it's separate from everything.
And the funny thing is that nobody thinks about that, man. We don't think about that enough. We don't think about liabilities, and we think, oh, that's not going to happen to me. And then when you start getting into the meat and potatoes of assets, and as a sole proprietor, corporation, LLCs, all of these partnerships, all of these things are super important questions that people just don't. I've talked to a lot of people here locally, and it's just like nobody ever talks about liability.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you're bringing it up because, man, it's something you really need to think about, because something happens. You're right. You have an employee. They're in the company car.
Yeah.
They crash. They hit somebody. Now your business is on the line.
Yeah. And so those are the big, the 2 big risks.
Okay. And
now the third bucket is what I call the paper bucket. Okay. So the paper bucket is where you have your excess cash, you have your non-retirement stock and bond accounts, and where you would hold the shares of these other companies. Okay, so I know what you're thinking, Mike. You just told me that everything has to be separate, and now you're putting everything together.
Right.
Okay. Well, let's go revisit the protection that the entities give you. Okay. So we're talking about the inside risk. Now, that's the risk that happens when something happens inside the business. Your employees, the property damage, whatever is inside. And so that risk can hurt you. In the paper bucket, we've eliminated that risk because this company only owns shares. It doesn't manage the business. It doesn't operate. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't even own the real estate. It owns the company that owns the real estate.
Gotcha.
Okay, so the internal risk is eliminated there. Now, the external risk is, let's say me as a human being, I have an accident and one of those TV lawyers is on the other side and they get $1 million judgment. Well, they're going to come after, they're going to say, oh great, it's all in one LLC. They're going to come and the only thing they can get is a charging order. And that charging order basically is an order of the court that says if you make a distribution, you've got to make it to the one that has a judgment. Okay. We're never required to make distributions.
And it only affects that bucket, so to speak.
Right. And this bucket is really at the end of the pipeline. So these other operations can continue generating income.
Right.
And if you need cash, you can get a salary from any of those companies. You can even get a salary from this company, and it won't be affected by the charging order because that only affects distributions.
So we go with the 3-bucket method. Obviously, this is where JMD, law attorney at law, comes into play and says, "Okay, I've got all this stuff. I just kind of I want to be protected.
Right.
I come to you and you would then separate these entities and it's called asset management
protection.
Asset protection.
Right. And so what we do is we set this up, but then I tell my clients, okay, now yes, we have asset protection, but that doesn't mean to get rid of your insurance. Okay? That you still want to have insurance because you want somebody else to pay for the lawyer if there's a lawsuit. Okay? So your insurance company will defend your claim if somebody sues you.
Right.
So somebody has to pay the attorney, and you've got to be responsible. If you or your company did something, you need to be able to step up and make it right.
Right.
So you need to have insurance. Now, we've created this structure. Well, how are we going to get that to your kids? So that's where we need to then do estate planning. And how are we going to pass this on? Are we going to do gifting? Are we going to wait till we pass away and have that pass under a will? Or do we want to create a living trust and have that just go outside of probate and transfer directly to your heirs? So it's a big project to do this. But the earlier you start, when you're starting your business, if you start off right and set up your entity to give you that protection, then you can just, as you go and you say, hey, look, I've raised enough money I'm going to dip my toe in the real estate, so now I'm going to buy a little fourplex. Well, let's create the entity to buy the fourplex. So now you've got 2 buckets going.
Gotcha.
And as you grow that, then you start seeing how your risk, once you have something to lose, you really worry about the risk.
Right.
That's when then you would shift over and then add the 3rd bucket.
And at that time, it's like, man, we're already at a point where we're on the edge. We're already going into some sort of litigation. It's too late.
Correct. If you wait till you get the demand letter from the attorney, it's too late because anything you move after that could be subject to a fraudulent transfer. So you get sued again to undo that transaction.
Gotcha.
So that's one of those things where you've got to do it before you need it. Like your will, it doesn't have any effect until you die.
Right.
But if you didn't do it while you're alive, it's not going to be there.
Right.
And it's so much more expensive and so much more of a hassle to have to do probate without a will.
Yeah. Especially when there's like feuding family man.
The worst thing is when there's no will and all there is maybe a bank account that nobody's a beneficiary on, and the bank says, I need to have a court tell me who I can give this to. But you don't know how much money is in there because they can't tell you that either. And it's going to cost a whole bunch of money to be able to find out who it is. So you may wind up spending $5,000 on a probate to get $3,000 out of the bank.
Right. It's a risk.
Yeah. And so a lot of times people just say, well, I'm just going to walk away from it.
Yeah.
And, you know, or they'll spend the money and then they're frustrated because they spent all this money and
and there was only $300 in the bank account. Yeah, grandma didn't. She wasn't specific.
Yeah.
Would you say then, this is again the 3-bucket method is just another tool on our roadmap to rich?
Correct.
So, I guess the one thing that I will say is that, you know, the road to starting a business or getting into real estate is not easy.
No.
It's not an easy one, and it's not meant for everyone. But for those of you that do have a business or thinking of starting a business, I will say that it is definitely rewarding. If you have not picked up a copy, where can everybody get a copy of this? This is on Amazon.
Yes, you can get it on Amazon, and right now we have a promotion. If you go to our website or you go to our page on Facebook or Instagram, you can request a copy.
I got my autographed copy, by the way. How big has your wife been in your life in this? I see that you inscribed it.
Yeah, don't read that because that's.
Hey,
I'll tell you the story. I'll tell you that's another story.
But let me. How my wife is kind of like my business partner, even though she's not in my business, but she's my business partner. Would you say that your significant other is a? I mean.
Well, my wife Kat, she is. She handles all our marketing, and so a lot of the Facebook things that come out, the Instagram things, our newsletters, she puts it together. Things that require me to write, she's on me. Hey, we need something. Get something out. So she handles a lot of that marketing. She coordinated this particular meeting.
She's your manager.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, shouts out to Kat because yes, she's a marketer. She does a really good job, and the short time that we've known each other, I can tell you that from a marketer's perspective that you're doing all the right things to promote the book, and she's helping you along the way. So I did want to commend you guys on being a great team.
Yes.
Because you do need a team.
Yeah.
To make your business work.
Yeah, and you need to have that support. When you get home, you need to have somebody who's got your back and isn't going to be on your case about, hey, this bill hasn't gotten paid.
Right.
What are you going to do? And why are you still doing that if things aren't working the way I want them to?
Right.
So somebody who's got support, who's a support system, but who's also realistic. And when it's 6 months that we haven't had cable, and we don't have internet, and they've got to bring you into reality, because sometimes as entrepreneurs we get so wrapped up in the deal, in the project, that we forget about everything else.
Right. We put our heart in it.
Yeah, and it's like I didn't notice we've been eating beans and rice for 6 months. So those are things that you've got to have them be able to bring you back to reality, but not slam you to the ground in reality.
Right. And we'll end with this one. So 10 years from now, Joseph Michael Dickerson is
back in real estate, maybe a few more books.
Okay.
Helping people.
Cool. Well, you've helped me with your book. I was really just, I was like, wow, I didn't think about it that way. You know, when I was looking at, you know, the roadmap and looking at some of the ideas, like, have you tried this? And have you tried it? So there's a really good set of pieces of advice,
right,
especially in the planning part
right,
of business.
Right.
You know, have you really planned out, you know, this, have you thought about it this way? And so I really commend you on this book. It's really, really well written. Again, it is on Amazon. You can pick it up, or just on your Facebook page,
or on Instagram.
Either way, you can pick it up. It is The Roadmap to Rich: A Lawyer's Perspective on Getting and Staying Rich. Joseph Michael Dickerson, sir. It was a pleasure having you on here. I appreciate it, man.
Anytime.
I appreciate it. Be on the lookout for the next book, which is coming out when?
Bucket Method. We're still in the editing stage, so we don't have a release date yet.
Okay, so be on the lookout for the 3-bucket method as well. I'm interested in checking that one out. Excited for you. And it's always cool because, again, you're from Laredo, you're an author, you're writing books. Not every day you run into an author from Laredo who is still writing and producing books on a regular basis. Thank you so much again for being a part of it. Ladies and gentlemen, again, like and share our program. It is called Grow Yourself. It is all about the entrepreneur and self-development, helping you grow yourself, grow your community. And again, like and share. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Grow Laredo. A big thank you to our sponsors, Family Chevrolet and Family Nissan, for keeping the lights on. We thank you all for watching. A big thank you to Joseph Michael Dickerson for joining us today. Again, this has been Grow Yourself. Take care of yourself and keep on growing.
July is Truck Month at Family Chevrolet. The time to get into the all-new Silverado is now. Whether you're looking to trade up or purchase a truck for the first time, save up to $13,500 off MSRP on an all-new 2018 Silverado LT and make no payments for 90 days. Get into a 2018 Colorado for only $395 a month. Save thousands and no payments for 90 days. There's no better time to buy than Truck Month.
We've been bringing you deals for over 75 years. Come see why the deals are always better at Family Chevrolet. What is our family price guarantee? Our family price guarantee means you're getting the best possible deal the very first time you visit our dealership. The easiest way to buy a car is now available at Family Nissan.
Buy a 2018 Rogue for only $349 a month. Lease a 2018 Altima for $299 a month. How about a 2017 Titan with up to $14,000 off MSRP?
We've changed the way we price our vehicles because our customers have changed the way they buy their vehicles. A new Nissan and a better way to buy it. Only at Family Nissan.